Did you know that Mississippi is the poorest state in the U.S., with nearly 19% of its population living in poverty? That's almost 1 in 5 people struggling to make ends meet. And that's just the tip of the economic iceberg we're about to explore. Welcome to our countdown of the 10 poorest states in America. We're taking you on a journey that might surprise you, shock you, and maybe even inspire you. Because despite the economic hardships these states face, they also showcase remarkable resilience, rich culture, and breathtaking landscapes that often get overlooked in statistical reports. So, what makes a state poor anyway? We're looking at the hard numbers here: poverty rates, median household incomes, educational attainment, and unemployment figures. The data doesn't lie, but it also doesn't tell the whole story. Ready to discover which states are struggling the most? In at number 10, we have Tennessee, the land of country music and moonshine, with a poverty rate of 14.3%. That's right, the state that gave us Dolly Parton and Jack Daniels is also home to significant economic challenges. Tennessee is like that friend who seems to have it all together on Instagram, but is secretly maxing out credit cards. Behind the glitz of Nashville and the charm of Memphis lies a state where the typical household brings in around $59,000 annually. Not terrible, but definitely below the national average. With an unemployment rate hovering around 3.5%, you might think things aren't so bad. But here's the catch: many of those jobs don't pay enough to keep families above the poverty line. Meanwhile, tourists flock to the Great Smoky Mountains and the Country Music Hall of Fame, often unaware of the economic struggles just beyond these attractions. And just when you thought music could solve everything, it turns out even being the soundtrack capital of the South can't fix systemic poverty. Number 9, South Carolina. Moving up our not-so-prestigious list to number 9, we find South Carolina, where palmetto trees sway and 14.6% of residents live in poverty. The Palmetto State might boast beautiful beaches and historic plantations, but its economic landscape isn't quite as picturesque. With a median household income of just $54,250, many South Carolinians are making do with significantly less than the national average. Sure, you can visit Fort Sumter where the Civil War began, but the state is still fighting battles against economic inequality. The unemployment rate sits at about 4.2%, which isn't catastrophic, but dig deeper and you'll find persistent issues with underemployment and wage stagnation. While tourists snap photos at Magnolia Plantation and indulge in Charleston's renowned cuisine, local families are stretching budgets thinner than shrimp and grits. And if you think education might be the silver bullet, well, the University of South Carolina is excellent, but educational attainment across the state tells a more complicated story. Think this is as bad as it gets? Hold onto your wallet, because we're just getting started. Number 8, Oklahoma. Welcome to Oklahoma, our number 8 contender, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains and poverty affects about 16% of the population. The Sooner State might be rich in Native American heritage, but many of its residents are dealing with not-so-rich bank accounts. With a median household income around $53,450, Oklahomans are earning substantially less than the national average. Sure, the unemployment rate is a relatively low 3.4%, but as we've seen with our other contenders, having a job doesn't necessarily mean escaping financial hardship. Oklahoma City offers vibrant urban life, and the Ozark Mountains provide stunning vistas. But these postcard-perfect scenes mask the economic struggles many residents face daily. The state's heavy reliance on oil and gas makes its economy as volatile as the commodities it depends on. And just when you thought natural resources would provide natural wealth, Oklahoma reminds us that boom and bust cycles can leave many families in the dust. Number 7, Alabama. Rolling in at number 7 is Alabama, where 15.6% of residents are living below the poverty line. The heart of Dixie might have heart, but its wallet is looking a bit thin these days. Alabama's median household income sits at approximately $53,400, while the unemployment rate is a surprisingly low 2.8%. But don't let that unemployment figure fool you. Many Alabamians are working full-time jobs that simply don't pay enough to cover basic expenses. The state that gave us Rosa Parks and the civil rights movement continues to struggle with inequality of a different kind economic. While visitors can explore the powerful Birmingham Civil Rights Institute or enjoy the Birmingham Jazz Festival, many locals are playing a different kind of blues. Even with prestigious educational institutions like Auburn University, the state faces challenges in translating education into economic prosperity for all its citizens. And just as you're wondering how things could get worse than this, they do. Let's continue our journey. Number 6, Arkansas. Halfway through our list at number 6, we find Arkansas, home to Walmart's headquarters, and ironically, a 15.7% poverty rate. The natural state has natural beauty in spades, but economic opportunity? That's a bit harder to come by. With a median household income of around $51,250 and an unemployment rate of about 3.3%, Arkansas presents the now familiar pattern of working people who just can't seem to get ahead. The state where Sam Walton built his retail empire is filled with residents who can barely afford to shop at his stores. Visitors can enjoy Hot Springs National Park or hike through the stunning Ozark Mountains. They can even visit the Clinton Presidential Library in Little Rock. But many locals are too busy working multiple jobs to enjoy these attractions in their own backyard. And just when you thought having the world's largest retailer headquartered in your state would boost everyone's fortunes, well, that wealth doesn't seem to trickle down very effectively. Hashtag number 5 Kentucky. Galloping into the number 5 position is Kentucky, where bourbon flows freely, but prosperity doesn't, with a poverty rate of about 16.4%. The bluegrass state might be famous for fast horses, but its economy isn't winning any races. Kentucky's median household income of approximately $54,030 might seem not too far off from others on our list, but it's coupled with a higher unemployment rate of 4.8%. That's a tough daily double that leaves many Kentuckians struggling to make ends meet. While the wealthy elite sip mint juleps at the Kentucky Derby and tourists explore the Bourbon Trail, regular folks are often working jobs in declining industries like coal mining. The state's stunning Red River Gorge attracts climbers from around the world, but many locals can't climb out of economic hardship. And just when you thought those bourbon taxes might fund a strong social safety net, Kentucky shows us that having a signature industry doesn't guarantee widespread prosperity. Number 4, West Virginia. Almost heaven? At number 4, West Virginia's economic reality feels more like the other place for the 17% of residents living in poverty. The mountain state's landscape may be breathtaking, but its economic situation often leaves residents breathless for different reasons. With a median household income of around $52,200 and an unemployment rate of 4.2%, West Virginia continues to struggle long after the coal mining industry's heyday. John Denver may have crooned about country roads, but those roads haven't led to economic prosperity for many. Visitors marvel at the magnificent New River Gorge and enjoy skiing in the mountains, while many locals are stuck between a rock and a hard place financially. The state's rich coal mining heritage has become more of a museum exhibit than a viable economic engine. And just when you thought natural resources would be a blessing, West Virginia reminds us they can sometimes be a curse when economies don't diversify. Number 3, New Mexico. Breaking into our top 3 at number 3 is New Mexico, where enchanting landscapes contrast sharply with disenchanting poverty rates between 16.2% and 18.1%. The land of enchantment might cast a spell on tourists, but economic reality breaks that spell for many residents. With a median household income of just $50,822 and an unemployment rate around 4.1%, New Mexico's economic challenges are as vast as its desert landscapes. The state's unique blend of Native American and Spanish influences creates a rich cultural tapestry. But cultural wealth doesn't always translate to financial stability. Tourists flock to the Sangre de Cristo Mountains and the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, capturing Instagram-worthy moments, while many locals struggle with decidedly unphotogenic financial hardships. The state's reliance on government jobs and volatile energy sectors creates a precarious economic foundation. And just when you thought all that beautiful turquoise jewelry was a sign of prosperity, New Mexico reminds us that artisanal crafts rarely build broad-based economic security. Hashtag number 2 Louisiana. Laissez les bons temps rouler? Not for everyone in Louisiana, our number 2 contender, where the poverty rate ranges from 17.4% to a sobering 18.9%. The Pelican State may know how to throw a party, but many residents can't afford to join the celebration. With a median household income between $50,935 and $53,440 and an unemployment rate of 3.9%, Louisiana epitomizes the working poor phenomenon. The vibrant streets of New Orleans' French Quarter might be flowing with tourists and cocktails, but many neighborhoods nearby are just trying to keep their heads above water, sometimes literally, given the state's flooding issues. Louisiana serves up incredible jazz, zydeco, and the legendary Mardi Gras festivities, creating the impression of a state flush with joie de vivre. But behind the music and festivities, economic hardship plays a persistent bassline in many residents' lives. And just when you thought all that tourism and oil money would spread around, Louisiana shows us that economic inequality can persist even in places rich with resources and culture. Number 1 Mississippi. And finally, we've reached number 1 Mississippi, America's poorest state, where nearly 1 in 5 residents, 18.8% to 19.3%, lives below the poverty line. The Magnolia State might have beautiful flowers, but its economic landscape is far from blooming. With a median household income of just $44,966, yes, you read that right, Mississippi residents earn dramatically less than the national average. Surprisingly, the unemployment rate is a low 2.7%, which tells us what we've been seeing throughout this list. Having a job doesn't guarantee financial security. The state that gave us musical legends from Elvis Presley to B.B. King now plays a somber economic tune. Visitors can explore the Mississippi Delta Blues Trail or relax on Gulf Coast beaches, often unaware that the communities they're passing through are facing serious financial challenges. The same state that's produced some of our greatest literary voices, from William Faulkner to Tennessee Williams, is struggling to write a new chapter of economic prosperity. And just when you thought we couldn't get any more ironic, the state named after America's mightiest river is having the hardest time keeping its head above water financially. So there you have it, America's 10 poorest states. What should we take away from this sobering tour? First, poverty in America isn't just about unemployment. Many of these states have jobless rates comparable to or better than the national average. The problem is often low-wage employment that keeps families trapped in a cycle of working poverty. Second, these states remind us that America's prosperity isn't evenly distributed. While some regions thrive, others continue to struggle with systemic challenges that aren't easily solved. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, these states are more than just statistics. Each one offers unique cultural contributions, natural beauty, and communities full of resilient people working to build better futures despite the odds. Which state on this list surprised you the most? Did you notice how many of them are clustered in particular regions? And what responsibility do the rest of us have toward our fellow Americans facing these challenges? Something to think about the next time you're planning a road trip or considering where in America you might want to live. Because sometimes the places with the biggest economic challenges also offer the richest cultural experiences and the warmest welcomes.